What's up, guys? It's Flying Squirrel MMA. Today's video, we're going to be talking about every UFC weight class's most likely Hall of Famers. So I'm going to be going through every weight class, and I'm going to cover the champion of every weight class, and then I'm going to tell you who, aside from the champion, I believe has the most likely chance to become a Hall of Famer. But first, let's look at the qualifications to become a Hall of Famer in the UFC. So UFC has this interesting website that for some reason is in Korean up top or Japanese or I don't know. But this will tell us the qualifications for being in the UFC Hall of Fame. So first of all, there's categories. There's the modern era, so anyone who debuted after 2000. There's the pioneer era, anyone who debuted before 2000, aka the UNC era. And then there's the fights of great significance, and then there's outstanding contributions. So here we go. What is the criteria for the modern category? So accomplishments in UFC are major consideration, but record outside octagon is also noted. Individuals should be 35 or older or should be retired for 1 calendar year. So it seems like it's pretty easy to get in the UFC Hall of Fame. Like I said, let's go weight class by weight class, talk about who is probably going to be in it and what are their chances. So first person, I think this is easy.
It's just, guys, let me explain something to you. Jon Jones.
He was the youngest UFC champion in UFC history. I remember that fight. I remember that time. I was watching UFC back then. He has the most successful title defenses in UFC history. Most UFC title fights, 17. 17 title fights, bro. That is insane. 2 division champ and Dana White's favorite little Pookie Bear.
There's a whole nother. Jon Jones,
100% chance. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Aside from Jon Jones, who else in the heavyweight division has the most likely chance to become a Hall of Famer? I think Tom Aspinall.
What would it take?
And I give him 60%. Only reason I give him 60% is he hasn't been able to actually become a champion yet. He's a UFC interim champion, and he's the first fighter to defend an interim title, which is silly. But, I mean, what are you going to do when you got a silly goose and a silly goose president? This is what we got to deal with. He has the shortest average fight time in UFC history, 2 minutes. Largest striking differential in UFC history, 5.18 to 1. And Jon Jones does not want to fight him. This makes him pretty significant. I think he'll be the 3rd British champion if he becomes undisputed, which we all believe he will. I think he has a 60% chance. Once he holds the belt, I would bump that up to maybe 70, 80%. Defend a few more times, bump him up to 90%. Now let's go to light heavyweight. Champion right now, Alex Pereira. So I give him 100% chance. I know in the thumbnail I say 80%, but as I'm looking at his resume, I don't know what he has to do to lose the Hall of Fame. He's the 2024 Fighter of the Year. He's the only fighter to win middleweight and light heavyweight championship. Not simultaneously, but he is a 2-division champ. He has 3 title defenses at light heavyweight. He has wins over 5 former UFC champions in his first 8 fights. Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland, Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz? Jan Blachowicz. And Yuri Prohaska twice. And also Jamal Hill, which I forgot to put on here. That is absolutely unprecedented. He's the fastest rising champion. He's the fastest rising Hall of Famer. We've never seen anything like that. I don't know how you don't put him in the Hall of Fame. Even if he loses to Magomed Ankalaev next month, I think you still put him in the Hall of Fame. I think he's cemented himself. Now, the problem with his weight class, though, who else are you going to put in there? Who else do you put in there? Maybe Yuri Prohaska, because why? Who else do you put? I think the only person you could put is Glover Teixeira for being the oldest champion in UFC history. But yeah, that's what I got for light heavyweight. Middleweight, Dricus du Plessis. He's the middleweight champion. He has 1 successful title defense. First South African fighter to win a UFC championship. And he made 2 UFC champs cry on camera. I give him 60%, 10% more than 50%, because I feel like if you bring the belt to a country that it's never been to, and you bring a market to the UFC that it's never been to, it adds to your resume. For example, Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping was a tough champion, but he also was the first British UFC champ. So Dricus du Plessis brought the belt to Africa, the mainland of Africa, which is a big deal. Now, other than the champion, I give Israel Adesanya 99% chance that he will be a Hall of Famer. And honestly, it's probably more like 100% chance. If you think about everything that he's done for the UFC, two-time middleweight champion, which means he lost it twice and got it back twice. 5 successful title defenses outside of that. Second longest winning streak in UFC middleweight history. Fight of the year, knockout of the year. He has the rivalry, the best rivalry of all time in the UFC with Alex Pereira. You don't get better than that story. I give him 99%. I don't even know why I give him 99. Why do you think? I think he's 100%. It's hard, like, all these guys deserve it, except for this guy. Here, let's move on. Yeah, Bilal Muhammad, he's not a Hall of Famer yet. Not yet. What does he need to do to become a Hall of Famer? He probably needs, to be honest, the odds are stacked against his favor. He honestly needs to defend his belt like 5 more times. He would have to honestly become the welterweight GOAT for people to respect him as a Hall of Famer. But like I said about being the first person from a country, he's the first UFC champion of Palestinian descent. Second most decision wins in welterweight history behind GSP. He ended the most boring title reign in UFC history of he who should not be named, but he's also a British champ, Leonardo. Headshot dead, bro. Headshot dead. Yeah, whatever, dude. And he's a better boxer than Canelo. He's probably not, but he's definitely not, but he just said that. Now, aside from the champion in the welterweight division, you got to give it to Kamaru Usman. He's definitely, I think Kamaru Usman has a higher chance of becoming a UFC Hall of Famer than Israel Adesanya does, simply because, and here, let me show you. Welterweight champ, 5 successful title defenses. He was a fighter of the year. He had a knockout of the year versus Jorge Masvidal. Most consecutive wins in welterweight history. That can't be true. He has a 15-fight win streak? Bro, 15 is crazy. Honestly, 15 is crazy. Wait, let's count this. Where does it start at UFC? Ultimate Fighter. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fight winning streak. 15 fight winning streak. That is insane. That is insane. And it would have been 16 if it wasn't for that kick. 100% chance Kamaru Usman is a Hall of Famer. I think what really makes him 100% is the Ultimate Fighter winner. If you win on the Ultimate Fighter and then you go on to become a champ, that really adds to your legacy because you are helping the UFC as a whole, as a company. Now, next, we have a guy who basically has an identical resume to Kamaru Usman. He's a UFC lightweight champion, 4 successful title defenses, second longest win streak in UFC history, tied with Kamaru Usman. Pound for pound number 1. I don't know if I mentioned that Kamaru Usman was pound for pound number 1 for a pretty long time. Fighter of the year 2023, fight of the year 2023 versus Alexander Volkanovski. This guy literally has it all. He is pound for pound the best fighter in the UFC. He's making a really good case that he's the best fighter ever. Hopefully one day he'll beat Arman or have a fight with Arman. I'd like to see him fight Gamrot. I'd like to see him fight for the welterweight title one day, maybe against Shavkat or somebody. I feel like he could do it all, but at the same time, he is human. Now, next guy, a guy who is not a champion, but 100% chance this man is a Hall of Famer. And dude, I don't care about a lot of these guys when they become Hall of Fame, but this one,
this means something to me, man.
When they induct Charles do Bronx Oliveira into the Hall of Fame, bro, I might shed a tear because he's the most deserving guy, the most humble guy, comes from the favelas, always nice, always kind, bro. So let's read off his accolades. Lightweight champion, 1 successful title defense, should be 2. I think that the scale was messed up. I think it wasn't him because he said he made weight the night before and then he went to sleep, woke up, scale was messed up. I believe him. Believe all men. UFC record for most post-fight bonuses, UFC record for most finishes, UFC record for most submissions, most guillotine choke submissions in UFC history, most anaconda choke submissions in UFC history, 2022 SB Fighter of the Year, and he's also literally me, Charles Do Bronx Oliveira, my favorite fighter in the whole UFC. Too bad he'll probably never beat Islam Makhachev, but that doesn't matter. He's still a bona fide Hall of Famer. I don't think there's anything. I think he's dude, 20 post-fight bonuses, bro. That's insane. Okay, let's move on. Featherweight. Ilia Topuria, he's the current champion. I think he has an 80% chance of becoming a Hall of Famer. What he's done so far has been absolutely insane, ending Volkanovski's title reign and knocking out Max Holloway, who's never been knocked out. He was tied for Fighter of the Year with Alex Pereira. Also, first Georgian fighter to win a UFC championship. He's also in Spain, so he's bringing 2 huge new markets. He's done what other people feel like is the impossible. Honestly, this could be 90%, because if you look at what he's done, you could compare Ilia Topuria to a Frankie Edgar career. I mean, he's done a little more than a Frankie Edgar, unfortunately. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of red. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and change that Ilia Topuria to 100%, huh? Yikes. Okay, that was a lot of red. Next. Dude, the featherweight division is stacked. Also, the lightweight division. I mean, if we could only pick 2 for this video, but another lightweight guy who's going to 100% be a Hall of Famer is going to be Conor McGregor. Another one is probably going to be Dustin Poirier. I give Conor a 100% chance. I give Dustin Poirier probably a 70% chance. Just because he was an interim champ. He never really won the belt. There's no qualification that says you have to win the belt to be a Hall of Famer. But it is heavily suggested that you should be. These 2 weight classes are stacked. You got these 2 guys who are also 100% Hall of Famers in the featherweight division. You got Max Holloway, UFC featherweight champion with 3 successful title defenses. He also is a BMF champion. He has the most significant strikes landed in UFC history. He has the highest number of significant strikes landed in a single fight with 445. He had a 13-fight winning streak, which was the longest in UFC featherweight history. He has the most wins in the division with 20. He has the most fight time in UFC history at 6 hours, 58 minutes. And he also held a record for consecutive bouts without being knocked down, which ended at 29 fights. So I give him a 100% chance. Volkanovski, he has a similarly impressive reign. He beat Max Holloway 3 times. He achieved 12-fight winning streak in the UFC. He had a 10-fight streak in the featherweight division. He defended his title 5 times. 100% chance Volkanovski is in the Hall of Fame. I think he also might be the first Australian champ in the UFC. I might be wrong about that. I think I'm wrong on that. But y'all can fact check me because you guys know everything.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
Next, Bantamweight division. Merab Dvalishvili, we talked about this. He is the 2nd greatest Bantamweight fighter of all time. He's the first Georgian-born champion in UFC history. He has the most unanimous decision wins in Bantamweight division history. That's kind of a stat, but I mean, it's win. A win is a win, huh? Longest win streak in Bantamweight history with 10. Most takedowns landed in UFC Bantamweight history with 92, bro. Total strikes landed in Bantamweight history, 1950. It's probably more than that because I didn't update the numbers after the last fight.
Come on now, dog.
And he has the most control time in Bantamweight history with 1 hour and 14 minutes, which is crazy because I've seen some comments saying that he can't control people. Why does he have the most control time in Bantamweight history, huh? I've seen a lot of stuff talking about, Merab takes people down, but he doesn't do anything with the takedown. He can't do. Oh, wait. He has the most control time in Bantamweight history. So how is that? Anyways, bro. Now, someone who's not the champ, who has a very high chance of becoming a Hall of Famer, I think Sean O'Malley. Honestly, it's the cool hair. If Sean O'Malley had a buzz cut, no one would give a crap. He probably wouldn't have ever been champion. And you know that's true. If Sean O'Malley had a buzz cut, bro, no one would know his name. But let's look at his stats. He has 1 successful title defense against Aljamain Sterling. Most significant strikes landed in a bantamweight fight with 230 versus Marlon Vera. Guys, 230 is insane.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But
Max Holloway had 445 significant strikes in a fight. That just makes Max Holloway 200% chance. 200% chance that Max Holloway makes the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous when I think about it. Highest significant strike differential in UFC Bantamweight history, which is 3-1. If you remember, number 1 was Tom Aspinall, and he had 5.18. So, I mean, this guy has impressive stats. He fights exciting. He has really good fights. I will say that. Most post-fight bonuses in Bantamweight history, 9. But it's, I think, the cool hair. I think that's why I give him 80%. And sadly, I think he has just as much of a chance to be the Hall of Fame as Alexander Pantoja. Even though he works so hard for this. I work so hard for this. Okay, yeah, 3 defenses, tied for most wins in flyweight division history, tied for most finishes in flyweight division history. He's basically tied with DJ on all the finishes. The thing is, DJ did it while he had the belt. So that's why he doesn't have as many title defenses. Yeah, 2nd greatest flyweight of all time. He's beaten everyone else, but because no one watches flyweight, because no one respects flyweight, I don't know. I see him, he has an 80% chance, but there's a long list of guys who are getting in before him. Guys like this, guys like this, guys like this.
brother,
Unfortunately. And so my last person in the flyweight division who I see becoming a Hall of Famer, Brandon Moreno. I give him 60% chance. There was about a 3-year period where every single flyweight championship fight you saw was either Brandon Moreno or Davison Figueiredo. And I got sick of it. The pandemic happened right after that. I'm joking. Most total fight time in the UFC flyweight division? Yes, because he had to fight 15 times with Davison Figueiredo in a 5-round bout. Most significant strikes landed in flyweight division history, first Mexican champion in UFC history. I think the Mexican champion is going to be what brings him in, and also he's a fan favorite. I think he also was a tough contestant. He was not a tough winner, but he was a tough contestant. So this is my list of UFC Hall of Famers, the most likely Hall of Famer in each UFC division. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you disagree or agree. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like and if you feel like subscribing. Y'all have a good evening.